Welcome to Miles Ahead, the Canadian Points podcast, brought to you by FrugalFlyer.ca, where we talk about all things miles and points, a hobby that allows us to travel all over the world in style and on a budget. Now today, gentlemen, we'll be spilling the secrets and discussing the tools we use to find our favorite redemptions. And of course, I'm here with Josh and Jeff. Josh, I know finding award flights is always an exciting proposition.
Yeah, it's one of those things that when you find the flight you're looking for, nothing's more satisfying than booking it. But with some of these programs and depending on the destinations you're going to, the demand is through the roof, and it can be such a hard time to find the two seats that you're looking for.
Yeah, and I think as a result of that demand, we've seen an explosion of points and miles tools in the past few years. I remember when I first started, there was like one site, and it was like a text-based website that someone, cooked up in their basement. And now these are like, probably multi-million-dollar companies at this point that are, designing these websites. So really cool to see how far things have gone.
Yes, if there's anybody that knows what Jeff is referring to, you can drop a cow emoji anywhere that you're listening, and we will smile and wave to the one and only Scott Kennedy in the best way we know how. So we're going to discuss a few different things on today's show. Like we said, we're going to be talking tools, but we're going to be talking about flight award search tools first. Then we're going to move into some hotel award planning. And then finally, we're going to wrap up with some of the general tools that we do, whether it's tech for travel day or just fun, nerdy tech as aviation geeks we love to get into. So we do have the first one, which is going to be FlightConnections. And I'm going to preface each of these that there are going to be paid and free versions of some of these tools, and we'll be sure to mention it as we get into them. So FlightConnections is pretty invaluable for me when I'm starting an award search that I'm not 100% familiar with, which isn't a lot now because friends and family usually want to go to Europe, maybe Southeast Asia. Very rarely am I looking for South America, but I'm hoping to change that trend soon. So for example, this can be helpful in the late game, if you already know kind of where you're looking to fly and you know where airlines fly, that if you want to use Air France miles or Delta miles to book WestJet flights, it can be good to keep up with that particular airline in terms of what they might have added to their schedule that you're not 100% familiar with. And that's typically how I use FlightConnections now for me. Is, I need to get somewhere and I want to see a particular airline I know provides good value with a partner mile. How can I get there using them? But how do you guys typically use FlightConnections?
That's kind of my go-to is if I'm looking to go to a destination, I'm using it as a way to kind of bridge that gap and look at what program should I be looking at, particularly if I have transferable currency like membership rewards where there's a lot of programs accessible. It is also interesting too because, like Danny alluded to, they have a paid and a free version, and the free version is not bad for what it's worth. You are you're more limited as to how you can, how many airlines you can search. You can only select one at a time, but it does still can make it possible pretty quickly to kind of figure out the options you have available and kind of map out how you'll be searching, which we'll talk about with a few of the later tools.
Mm-hmm. But Jeff, you've actually been experimenting with a competitor of FlightConnections.
Yeah, so I've been using FlightsFrom.com a lot more lately. It has all the same functionality as FlightConnections. The interface, it's not quite as pretty looking as I guess FlightConnections is, but there's no paywall, which is kind of what I like about it most because as you guys know and have mentioned that a lot of the filters are locked behind a paywall on FlightConnections, and there's none of that on FlightsFrom. So that's kind of why I've been going to it lately, but at the end of the day, they both kind of accomplish the same thing. Figure out what airlines fly to, what cities and what airports, which is really, really useful.
Yeah, and using FlightsFrom, you can segment it by which airline alliance they're a part of as well, Jeff?
Yes, that's correct. It has all the same filters. You can filter by airline and filter by alliance, yes.
Nice. That's great. Yeah, filtering by alliance for anybody who's a little bit newer is going to be important because you can then see which type of miles you might be able to use. Like, for example, if you're brand new to award searching, you might not be aware that EVA or EVA Air is part of the Star Alliance, and they fly from New York City to Taipei. And if you just didn't know that that was part of it, you wouldn't even think to look from JFK to Taipei as a way to get to Southeast Asia. So it's a really nice way to kind of broaden your horizons and see what's going on. And then one thing that I actually didn't mention that I use it for a lot nowadays, if I really want to fly first class somewhere, seeing what routes still offer first class. And the true first class is something that you won't keep up with, because unless you're a true baller, you're not booking first class multiple times a year. And those routes and the aircraft that they fly on those routes change quite a bit. The second tool that we're going to talk about today is a completely free tool, Google Flights. This is where, truthfully, everything starts for me now. Now that I've got a pretty good idea of what airlines belong to which alliance, I'll typically start at Google Flights, partly because of a tool that we're going to talk about in a minute, but also because the broad search functions that you can do, and that's something that we're going to talk a lot about even later in the show, are huge. Like, you can look from your home airport to all of Europe and just click around, zoom in, and see, for cash flights at least, what's available for a good deal. And sometimes you'll stumble across a fantastic business class cash price that I've never booked one myself, but it's certainly, I know, a way that a lot of the flight award alert or the flight cash deal or mistake fare alert services will look for their flights, just clicking around on Google Flights and finding some interesting stuff. Do you guys find yourself using Google Flights a lot? Jeff, I'll have you start.
Not especially, no. If I know I'm going to be booking a cash flight, then yes, I will go to Google Flights first. But other than that, I don't find myself visiting Google Flights very much, to be honest with you. I usually have a pretty good idea of when I'm going to be using points and when I'm not. And I'm not paying for business class, so I'm not searching for those mistakes unless it's an incredible mistake fare, which is very rare nowadays. So no, I mean, if like I said, if I know I'm building or going to be buying a cash flight, then yes. But otherwise, not so much. No.
Sure. Yeah. Josh, Google Flights using? Yes, no?
I'm kind of same as Jeff. I'm here and there for sure, especially if I'm doing something like, looking to use Alaska Atmos to book Porter, making sure that the cash fare is not so low that I might as well pay cash, like stuff like that.
Right.
So kind of a comparison tool, if anything, for me before I redeemed on certain routes.
Yeah. And I didn't want to give away my tool that I use so often, and probably my favorite tool on this whole list, to be honest, and why I'm on Google Flights so often is because of a lovely tool called Points Path. Now, Points Path is a Google Flights Chrome extension, so you do need to be using the Chrome browser in order to actually use this tool. It's really neat. It essentially has some cache data, and it'll compare what the points price would be to book this flight versus the cash price. So if you're points curious, or you have somebody who's not 100% sure the value of these, like, should I really be just doing cash back, or do points actually have these outsized value? And they are a traveler, they're somebody that is going to be looking for flights quite a bit, Points Path will for sure let them see the light in terms of the value that can be presented from it. The Pro version does have a little bit more functionality for Canadians. And that's obviously a paid version. It'll unlock Air Canada as a currency that shows up in the search results. Right now, for Canadians, you'll see United results. So Air Canada flights will show up as United Saver fares, which typically isn't a fantastic way to book Air Canada flights. You're usually better off using Aeroplan points. But what it will do is show you excellent deals for Porter flights using Atmos rewards in the free version. And one tip that I have is, if you're searching a route that has Porter as an option, be sure to look at the premium economy pricing bank. So when you're using Google Flights, you can click economy, include basic, economy, exclude basic, and then premium, and then business, and then first class. Ensure that you click off premium, because oftentimes there's a lot of award space for premium economy, what Porter calls premium economy. Their Porter Reserve seating class is often quite available and presents some excellent deals. Because it's their top level class within Canada, well, they only fly within Canada and the US, you're going to get 2 checked bags, you're going to get a small cold meal on board. It's fine, it's nothing to write home about, but there's a lot of value to be had. So Points Path to find Porter flights, really good if you want a quick, easy way to search Air Canada flights, and if they provide good value, then doing the Pro version could be worth it. Do either of you guys use Points Path in combination with Google Flights?
No, not most likely, probably because we're not big Google Flights users, but I can see the value for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So Points Path is one of my favorite tools, and typically I'll just head straight to Google Flights, see if there's anything that shows up on Points Path, and then if there's not, I'll almost always turn to Seats.aero. Now, I know you two are both huge Seats.aero users, so Josh, I'll let you take this one away in terms of why you love Seats.aero and what it is.
For sure. So it's Seats.aero if you're looking for the actual website. And it is a phenomenal flight award search tool that encompasses so many programs, and it does offer a free kind of functionality, but really this is one you want to pay for. Or at least pay for intermittently while you're searching for award flights. One of the biggest things with Seats.aero, so typically how it works is you're able to put in your origins, and you can enter multiple airports at once, or you can enter North America, or there's a bunch of different ways to do it, and then your destinations. One of the best things about Seats.aero is it makes searching big chunks of calendar availability super easy. If you pay for Pro, you can search months upon months upon months at a time. And so it makes it really quick to be able to spin through. If you're looking to go to, Southeast Asia, you can easily pinpoint a huge period of time, a bunch of different airports, a bunch of different origin airports too, if you're willing to take a positioning flight, or perhaps you live on the West Coast and you have a bunch of airports pretty close to you. It's fantastic. And so being able to look at that really quick and see the options that are available not only really helps for making those bookings, but it can give you an idea as to what is actually available if you're looking to book a trip like that, right? It can be a bit of a planning tool too. I might be getting ahead of myself here, but just as a note, it does take some getting used to using this for the first time, and you kind of have to shift your mindset as to how you use this. But one of my favorite things with this is you can set alerts. And this is imperative for popular routes or popular in-demand bookings. Japan comes to mind, as many people look to travel there. So you can set alerts with the Pro version, and you can either do a one-time alert or continuous alerts. And I use these all the time if I'm looking to book a new trip, or I've already booked a flight or series of flights that are maybe suboptimal, and I'm looking for something different that will get me home or to my destination a little bit quicker or with less flights. For example, I recently had an Amsterdam, Warsaw, Toronto flight booked with a one night layover in Toronto, and I was able to set some alerts for Amsterdam to Vancouver on Flying Blue, and I got an alert and probably booked it within 10 minutes of getting that alert about a week ago. So well worth the small monthly fee, for me at least. Makes a lot of what we do possible, but like I said, there is an element of it's pretty simple to use, but maybe difficult to master is maybe a great way to put it. So what about you guys, big Seats.aero users?
I know Jeff loves it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, just like everything you said, I agree with. I mean, there's so many kind of like little tools kind of like buried in the submenus that we could talk for a long time. We're not going to talk about all of them, but everything you said, I totally agree with. It's really the only site I use to search for award availability. And I mean, like, you would be crazy to start going to like individual airline websites when a website like this is available. One of the things that I like it. It's kind of buried way in the tools menu is the fare class viewer. And this is like a really kind of, this was popularized back when with Expert Flyer. And Expert Flyer was kind of like one of the original award search tools, which has kind of fallen behind in a lot of ways. It hasn't kept up, in my opinion, with some of the newer tools. So, but Seats.aero adopted the fare class viewer, which shows you the amount of revenue seats that are available in each cabin class, which can be a nice way to gauge whether or not, say are eyeing a flight that's coming up in 2 weeks, and the airline is known to release last minute award availability. If you see that there's still more than 9 seats available in business class, for example, you know that there might be a decent chance that that airline will release award seats in the days leading up to the flight. So kind of like a very obscure little tool, but one that I've gotten a lot of use out of. But other than that, yeah, searching for flights with Seats.aero just makes things so much easier.
Yes. Now, we do have to move on from Seats.aero, but just give somebody who's maybe new and hears us talking about the way we have to change our thinking. What's something that, Josh, you had to do when you started using Seats.aero that was unintuitive, or maybe you had to learn from somebody else in the award travel community to get the most out of this tool?
Yeah, I'm a big, and it kind of feeds into broader trip planning, but I kind of focus an area of the world that I want to go to. So I might be like, I'd love to go to somewhere Southeast Asia. Now I might want to find myself in Thailand, for example, but that doesn't mean I just type in Bangkok from Vancouver or whatever, right? I might be looking at, okay, Singapore is only a couple hours away. It's pretty easy to find flights from Singapore, even on cash, right? Like none of these flights are really that expensive once you get over there. So instead of thinking, I want to go to Bangkok, I'm only going to search for Bangkok, I'm searching everything around it. And I'm searching for other ways to get there. So I'm also open to, if for whatever reason, sometimes I just search areas of the world and say, I just kind of want to go to Europe, and I'm kind of open to wherever I go. And I sometimes let the award availability dictate the trip too. So it's a little bit, of that reverse where, the normal person might say, hey, I need to be in Italy on June 15th, right? That's not really how I book stuff and whatnot. So just a reframing, I guess, of the way I approach travel.
Yeah. And then something else that you can do to get a little bit more advanced is we have great access to British Airways and Cathay Pacific through RBC, as well as Air Canada Aeroplan, of course, through Amex membership rewards. You can look at some of the other programs that might not be those and see what shows up from North America to North America. And that'll give you an idea of what partner miles you can use to book your airlines at home. So just because it doesn't show up in a general search doesn't mean that you can't do a broad search and see, okay, this route shows up using these miles, and wow, it's considerably cheaper than using that airline's miles directly. And it's a fun tool to play around with. But that's the more advanced segment that we're talking about with Seats.aero. It's not a beautiful interface and kind of one step up from text on a site. It's got a little bit more polish to it than an HTML site, but not a lot. The next tool that we want to talk about is AwardTool. AwardTool does a lot of similar things that Seats.aero does. You can search broadly, but it's a little bit easier to use, and you guys can give your own opinion on this, but in my opinion, it looks exactly like Google Flights. The interface is very, very similar to what Google Flights is. So it's familiar and easier to use than Seats.aero. The one thing to mention as we go through all of these flight search tools is that they all do different things well. And we should probably make a post at some point in time on which tool does the best job of finding which seats. But that is a serious time commitment that somebody on the team will eventually take on. For example, AwardTool has been really good for me at finding China Airlines space that nobody else could. I used every tool out there. We're lucky we get a lot of access to tools for free. And AwardTool was the only one to find this particular China Airlines space that nobody else did. But I know you guys have used AwardTool a little bit, considering we have some free access to it. Does anybody else have some good stories that AwardTool has done, or something different than Seats.aero that we would use it for?
Yeah, like you said, there's no one universal best award search website. So having a few on hand does help. The nice thing about AwardTool is that it does support some of the more secondary programs that are supported by Seats.aero. Cathay Pacific is one that comes to mind. So if you're looking for a Cathay Pacific award space, the only way, or the most reliable way to book Cathay Pacific business class especially, is directly through the Asia Miles program. So that's nice to have. Personally, I'm just so used to it's just like a reflex to use Seats.aero at this point, that it's gonna, for me to be pulled away from Seats.aero's, the website is gonna have to be amazing. And honestly, I just haven't found that yet, but it's nice to have options for sure.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. And, not exactly what you said, not every tool supports every program. And I'm the same, I default to Seats.aero, but I think it's good to have a few supplementary search tools that, maybe use them to dig a bit deeper. Maybe you pay for Seats.aero and then use the other ones, the free version, whatever it may be. Because that's, as someone who's been looking to go to Southeast Asia, I've definitely found good China airline space, as Danny said before, on AwardTool, and I haven't seen that anywhere else on any search tool. So for such a demand or an in-demand area of the world, like it's a good pocket to say the least. So yeah, definitely some utility there.
Definitely. Now, these, of course, aren't all the award search tools that are out there, but for Canadians and the type of points that we typically have available to us, those are the ones that come to top of mind for us. All right, so the last tool that we're going to talk about here is AeroLopa, which isn't an award search tool, but it is something that after you book your flights, you're going to want to visit pretty much right away as you're choosing your seats. AeroLopa is the most detailed and up-to-date seat map database that we have found, at least. Seat Guru used to be an excellent resource for this, but it really has kind of gone the way of Expert Flyer, where it hasn't been updated in quite some time. And seat maps are helpful because they'll show you if, maybe it only has one window in a particular business class seat, or if there's any extra space at a bulkhead for any middle seats that exist. There's going to be some limitations, like you won't be able to see if the center divider slides forward and back if that's something that you're interested in, but that's where individual flight reviews are going to come in handy, and we've got quite a list of those on the site. We've each done quite a few flight reviews that we're happy to share with everybody else. This could also lead to, finding the best seat on the plane. And how would you guys go about finding your best seat on the plane? And do you have any preference, Jeff, in terms of how you go about picking your seats when you have finally booked your elusive business class redemption?
Yeah, I use it a lot for finding out where the bathrooms are in the cabins. So, for example, if there's a bathroom only on the left side of the plane, maybe you want to have a seat in the right-hand aisle so you don't have a constant flow of traffic coming back and forth. Or you don't want to be backed up against the toilet either. At least that's my preference.
No, I'm the same. Yeah.
So those types of things I will. Or if you maybe want to space yourself away from the galley a little bit to reduce some of the noise, reduce some of the disturbances, those types of things. And like you said, windows is a big one, because when you look at the official seat map on an airline website, they're never gonna disclose, or at least they're rarely going to disclose, which seats have windows and which don't. So those are kind of things I look for.
Yeah, a big one too is you see this on certain airlines so it's like a 1, then 2 in the middle, and the 1 arrangement on the side. Sometimes on the window seats you have alternating where the armrest and storage area is closer to the window, putting you closer to the aisle, and vice versa, putting the armrest closer to the aisle, which gives you a bit more extra space, and you're closer to the window. And typically these are in alternating rows. So for example, I don't remember the exact flight, but I'm flying a flight like this in a few months within the next year. and it made more sense to put myself and my significant other. It's a short flight, couple hours. We put ourselves in like 2A and 4A because we want closer to the window and less exposure to the aisle, right? So it's little things like that it's not gonna like drastically change your flight, but by knowing stuff like that, you can plan ahead and understand that it's not that the other seat is a bad seat, it's just is a much more optimal seat to sit in, to say the least. So things like that, right? Little tweaks that give you certainty that you aren't going to be getting on the plane and being like, damn, I'm pretty much in the aisle right now with how this seat's configured, right?
Yeah.
Yes, AeroLopa, an excellent last step after you book your flight, and you might need to recheck AeroLopa, but we'll get to why you might need to do that a little bit later. So moving on to hotel award planning, there are significantly less tools when it comes to hotel award planning, but when I'm first choosing places to stay in a city, I'll typically go to Google Maps, not even Google Hotels, but just Google Maps, and sorting hotels by brand, seeing who's around, because there's no point in searching on each individual hotel website if that particular chain doesn't have any hotels in an area that you would like to stay. Or any highly rated hotels. For example, Hyatt, we don't use them a lot up here, but they don't have a very big footprint. And if the only thing they have is a Hyatt house in a city center and you're on your honeymoon, to each their own, but you might want to opt for not a Hyatt house if you do want to have a more elevated stay in comparison to that. Do you guys do something similar when it comes to starting your search for hotels?
Yeah, depending on where I'm going, I find there's especially in certain locations. For example, I'm going to be in Norway later this year, and I was just looking to get a general kind of lay of the land, what's available before I start searching for specific properties or hotels, and it works perfect for something like that, right? And realizing that there's not as many chain options as I would have liked in those cities. So you start to pivot a bit and see what else you can do for redemption. So yeah, it's a good starting point, I think. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it might even open your eyes to some brands that we're not familiar with. Like actually speaking of Norway, choice hotels in Norway are elevated and like nice hotels. So you can often buy choice points for less than a penny a point USD. With the taxes and stuff, it might be a little bit more, but you can often book them for 15,000 to 20,000 points. So if you're buying those points for $230 a night and you would normally pay $300 for a Marriott, you're going to get a similar experience at those choice hotels. So it's good to see what options you might be able to buy points for and use some arbitrage opportunities there. The next thing is a little bit off the beaten path, and maybe I'm on my own for using this more than others, but we have so many Marriott free night certificates in my household. I think we're up to 8 free night certificates that we get every single year. The Marriott app is so much easier to use, in my opinion, than the website. The booking flow is easier. You don't have to log in and get a 2FA all the time. So if I know that I want to use a free night certificate, I'll typically take care of that whole booking process in the app rather than going to the website. Do you guys have a similar experience to that, or am I kind of on
the
my
Marriott
own in terms
website
of using the app?
It logs me out endlessly. It is the most inane, frustrating website with, half the time I just visit it, I'm logged out. I'm like, screw it. I'm not looking this up right now. I'll do it on my phone. Like, it's just every time, I can't believe it just doesn't remember you at all. So I do use the Marriott app out of the, the Hiltons, the Hyatts, all of that of the world. The Marriott app is open the most, but maybe not for the right reasons. It's the other websites are better. They function properly. So yeah, but it's true. The booking flow is good. Everything you need is on the app. Why not?
Yeah, my search always starts with Marriott just because if there's going to be a chain hotel in a city, it's most likely going to be a Marriott. So like if there's no Marriott there, then the chances of a Hilton or Hyatt being there is extremely low, I found. So yeah, Marriott first, and then we go from there.
Yeah, and being that Marriott is the only hotel brand that has credit cards in Canada, typically we've got things to burn and use, or you just want to collect Marriott points because you're already so entrenched in their systems. Rooms.Aero This is the Seats.aero hotel equivalent. I've actually never used Rooms.Aero other than clicking around and having fun with it. So, Jeff, have you touched on Rooms.Aero at all and gotten into the nitty-gritty of it?
No. Like searching for hotel award availability just has never really been something, I don't know why, but it's never been a priority for me. I always find like if I can't find availability at a hotel I want, I'll just stay somewhere else. I mean, the only exception to that would be if like the destination was the hotel.
Yeah.
Like for example, Maldives or JW Marriott Masai Mara. Other than that, if there's like multiple options in the city and they're all, similar, I'll just book one that's available.
Yeah, similar. I mean, we'll talk about our next hotel tool here, and I definitely have more experience using that, but I haven't really used Rooms.Aero. I've played around with it a little bit. I believe it's included in the Seats.aero Pro membership, so if you buy that, like, play around with it. There's no harm, no foul. It's not like you need to pay for a separate membership for that. But I'm a similar approach to Jeff for a lot of my travels, but the next hotel tool is definitely something that's a little bit more up my alley lately.
Yes, so the tool that Josh was referring to is MaxMyPoint, and there's a whole host of features that the MaxMy brand has established, but the first one that we're going to talk about is MaxMyPoint, and Jeff, I'm not sure if you used it, but I used this to book my JW Masai Mara stay because they only have a very limited number of villas available, and typically they book up right away, where even if you had 2 million Marriott Bonvoy points, there's a lot of the year when you just straight up cannot book it. So I set alerts for times that I wanted to go and got my alert, quickly logged into the Marriott app, and then away I was and booked my stay. That's pretty much the only time that I've used MaxMyPoint, similar to what you guys talked about with the hotel being the destination. That's when you really need it. But Jeff, share your experience with MaxMyPoint, and did you use it for JW Marriott?
No, I didn't. I did not use it. And I've never, like I mentioned, I've never really used any of these hotel search tools. I've just never found them to be necessary for the way I travel. So I don't really have much to say on it, just because they're just not something I ever use that often.
So I've had a bit more success.
Yeah, fair.
I have a family member traveling to London later this year, and I was happy to book them 5 nights at a Hilton. But it was all over the place with availability. Like, London hotels are just, it's bonkers what they charge, first of all, and then the availability. And so what I find the most value with MaxMyPoint is not necessarily searching, but it's the alerts feature. So I was able to say, okay, it needs to be these 5 days because I want to take advantage of the book 5 or stay 5, book 4, whatever, with points. And it was really easy to then get an email alert. And similarly, I'm planning a trip to Southeast Asia for February 2027. Not crazy in demand properties or anything, but obviously calendars open up at different times, right? Some might open at 12 months, 11 months, 10 months for certain hotels. So I've set up some alerts just to let me know that, hey, February 2027 is bookable now. So I can get in there and make those reservations and at least lock the room down. I was talking to Reed a couple days ago, and he also has gotten a lot of value out of MaxMyPoint using those alerts. Interestingly enough, you can set alerts for multiple things on MaxMyPoint. So the most obvious is like points availability. That's typically what we're all looking for. But you can actually set alerts for cash rates using corporate or travel agent industry codes as well. And so if there's a property that has a really good corporate rate, but maybe it's 10 months out and you're not able to see that right now, like, you could set that up. Obviously depends on your employer, or if you're in any groups that would be eligible for stuff like that, but kind of a unique and niche opportunity. Similarly, it can be worth using a tool like this to track pricing with certain programs. Like Marriott makes it really easy to rebook. If you've booked an award stay, you literally just have to go in and click like edit my reservation and select the dates, and it can be the same dates. And if it pulls a cheaper price, you just do it right there. You don't have to call in, you don't have to talk to anyone. So a tool like this can make it easy to, if you're lucky enough to see a drop in pricing with Marriott, which is its own conversation, it can be an easy way to highlight something like that. So could be worth.
Yeah. Or, you know what, talking about the free night certificates we mentioned in our last episode, if you're specifically looking to redeem one of those certs and you need it to be under a certain amount of points, which of course you will, then that's a great way to be able to snap that up as soon as it becomes available. Now, the next tool that's also by the same folks that produced MaxMyPoint is MaxFHR. And this is going to become a little bit more useful if you're one of two people. You either really like fancy hotels and you want to stay at them for as little money as possible, or you have a lot of Fine Hotels and Resorts credits from the United States American Express Platinum lineup of cards. So, of course, there, we're not going to go deep into it, but you do have $300 semi-annually to use up, and it's kind of like use it or lose it. There's no really good way to stack them up unless you get some crazy IT going on, which is very buggy. But MaxFHR will allow you to search what is available on Fine Hotels and Resorts, which is Amex sort of luxury booking platform. And you don't need to log in. You can sort by worldwide, price high to low. You can sort by which brand you're looking for. So maybe if you've got one of these $300 credits and you see it's going to expire, you might as well get as close as you can. If you can find like a $350 Marriott property that's near enough where you're going to be traveling, then you can get yourself some free Marriott points for $50 or even similar than that if you don't really need the stay. I love using MaxFHR, and I'll find myself just randomly clicking around on there to see, oh, you know what, that property's a good deal. Like, for example, I almost planned an entire trip around going to Lake Louise this winter to ski because the Fairmont Lake Louise was available for $370 United States dollars a night.
It's a good deal.
So it was like, you know what, that's a awesome price. You can look at the whole calendar. And, for $70 a night, I think that I would love to stay at the Fairmont Lake Louise. But, Josh, have you used MaxFHR yourself? And have you gotten any good value out of it?
I haven't used it to book anything, but I've played around with it. And I think it's a fantastic tool. It's, if you're super open to what you're booking, a lot of the usual suspects on there are like Vegas hotels and stuff like that you would expect to see. But it can open your eyes a bit to some of the options out there depending on the destinations that you're visiting. I've recently redeemed a couple FHR credits for a stay in Oslo. That wasn't that expensive, and it's nice to get the free breakfast and the property credit and all that. So why not, right?
Yeah. Jeff, have you messed around with MaxFHR at all? Any good success stories?
Not for me, no. I'm not a platinum. I don't really do the platinum cards, to be honest.
We got to change that, man. We got to talk in a couple weeks here. We got to get going on this.
I've just never found them. I just have not found the card appealing to me. I know. So no, I don't get any use out of these out of the FHR credits. No.
So what I'm learning is don't put anything hotel in front of Jeff. Jeff doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to see it. He doesn't want to look at it. Flights is all he wants.
Yeah.
Jeff, are you secretly homeless? All right. So ending out with hotel programs and moving on to some other travel tools that we use. This first tool is something that I should have been using for a lot longer and that I most recently started using. It's called TripIt. Does anybody else on the show use TripIt, or have you heard of this tool before?
We have.
No, I don't know what it is.
The wrong people on the show. Reed wrote an article on this a couple years ago. Reed uses TripIt. Yeah. I do not use TripIt, but I know of it.
Yes. So I started using TripIt specifically for my parents, who I have, of course, gotten into the points and miles game now that they're in their retired era and they're traveling around and having a good time. We used to use Aeroplan a lot for almost all of their stuff. And now that they're going to a few more exotic areas, Aeroplan is not an option. And quite frankly, Aeroplan points have become a lot harder to earn and not really as good value, which I think is part of the equation. But I was getting many texts from my dad being like, my flight's tomorrow. I can't find my confirmation. How did you book this flight for me? And he's halfway across the world. And I've decided to use TripIt because if they're going on a trip and I use Alaska miles to book them a Porter flight to Toronto from Winnipeg, and then they're going to take a Qatar flight from Toronto on to Singapore, and then they're going to go from Singapore on to Vancouver using Hong Kong or using Cathay Pacific on the way home. They can't keep track of all of that, and I can't keep track of all of that for them. So TripIt, all you need to do is forward a booking confirmation email to, I think it's noreply@tripit.com or something like that, and it automatically syncs your emails that you send it to the app, and it'll list for you day by day in terms of what's going on with your trip, and then also have the confirmation numbers in there too. And it works for activities. If you're on a cruise and you book an excursion or something like that, it'll get it all laid out. One of the things that I recently saved my butt on is I realized I had booked them a flight to Toronto that landed after their flight was leaving from Toronto. So that was only made clear to me. I'm sure I would have double checked it, but it was made clear to me right away as soon as I put it in TripIt. And that's something that I was able to avoid a cancellation fee on. So it's a free tool. You don't need to pay anything for it. Personally, I think we're going to start implementing it in my wife and I's travel as well, because right now we're just putting everything into a Google Doc, and it's a lot of a manual process versus with TripIt. You just forward your confirmation emails. You can register multiple people's emails too. So if I'm using my miles or my wife's miles, we can send it to the same account, and it all goes into one automatic itinerary. So it simplifies life quite a bit.
I'm always hesitant to
Yeah.
have my booking information kind of just out there and just handing it over to a third party, because with that information, they could technically change your itinerary, cancel it, So that's my hesitation with these types of services, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that, and I hear you on that. One of the other tools that you might hear some other resources talk about is Gondola for hotel booking, to give you a little bit of extra cash back, and they actually want access to your whole email inbox. That I'm not 100% comfortable with, which is why,
brother.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
Chance.
We're not endorsing that tool, but TripIt's been around for more than a decade now, so I think I've got a lot more cybersecurity risks of reusing the same password than TripIt of leaking my flight confirmation number. Now, the next tool is a tool that's near and dear to my heart as an av geek, Flighty. Does anybody else use Flighty on the regular here on the show?
Don't have an Apple.
Don't have an Apple device.
Oh,
that's the issue.
Well, we've got
Trust me, I've been left out of many conversations here. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a few green bubble text messengers that only the Apple users will be able to relate to. Flighty is a specific iOS-only app. I think there is an Android equivalent, but basically you can track how many flights you've taken, what class of service, and if you pay for the Pro version, one of the things that I really like that it does is it tells you everything you need to know about your flight. So it'll say if there's an aircraft change, if your aircraft is late incoming, and that's when you would want to open up AeroLopa again and see if the aircraft has changed, they've re-signed you a seat. Is that seat good? Can you get it changed? Usually at that point, you would just want to head to somebody in the airport to get it done. And oftentimes, one thing that I've found, at least with Air Canada, is the lounge reception desk can take care of seat changes for you. So that's a little hack with seat changes there. But ByAir, I'm being told, is the Android equivalent of Flighty. Do either of you guys use ByAir?
Yeah, I do.
Is it good?
Okay.
This is the first time hearing of it.
Yeah, it's comparable to Flighty. I haven't used Flighty that extensively because I don't use Apple devices, but as far as I understand, it is the most comparable to Flighty. It has all the same features. Outside of the basic, it logs what flights you've taken. You're going to have to pay for the premium version. I don't know if that's similar in Flighty or not. But yeah, it's useful for just logging your flights and, checking the status of your flight and whatnot. But beyond just the basic features, you are going to have to pay, though.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, no, I love these flight tracking stuff just so I can see how many flights I've taken. I actually don't pay for the premium version yet because I feel like it's a little expensive for what it does. And the next tool we're going to talk about does a lot of the flight alerting for you anyway. But I would love to be able to put historic flight data in from back when I was flying 300,000 miles a year and see exactly how many flights I've flown, because I booked all those with one email address. I've got them ready to go, but that's just my own aviation nerd interest going on there. The tool that you can use to see what's going on with your aircraft, what type of plane is assigned to your route, is FlightAware. Josh, do you use FlightAware or another flight tracking software or app on day of travel?
All the time. My main use is tracking inbound. That's the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. Tracking inbound is going to be the way to determine if there's an inbound delay that may impact your flight far before the airline sends out a notification, typically, right? I'll wake up in the morning if I have a flight at 2 p.m. and that's the first thing I check is what's going on with the inbound, because if it's been, if I'm coming back from Vegas and the inbound's been sitting in Vancouver 2 hours later than it was supposed to depart, I know I've got a much longer day ahead of me than originally planned. So that's my go-to. Also, I think it's kind of cool to just, see the path of travel and everything. I think that stuff's kind of neat, right? So it's definitely, as a free tool, provides some great value for myself.
Yeah, I like Flight Radar 24. I don't know if you guys use that.
I do.
On your phone, because you can actually see where the aircraft is.
Yep.
So that's kind of nice too. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've used both. I find that FlightAware is a little bit more direct to see where is my plane. You type in your flight number, and then it's the biggest button on the screen. Where is my flight? Shows up right there. It does make an appearance in the article that we have on the site, the tech that you need for travel days, and also on the note of tracking your inbound plane. If you're flying with most North American carriers, notably United and Air Canada, they do an excellent job of integrating this flight traffic into their own app.
Yep.
All right. The last thing that we have is a hot topic in the technology world, not so much in the award travel world, of AI tools. I actually don't know of any AI tools that are specific for award stuff, but that is my answer in terms of, do we use any AI tools? I am very, I wouldn't say anti-AI, but I'm not AI aware, flight aware. Do you guys use any AI tools for any of your trip planning, or even just in general for how you're planning a vacation or searching for flights at all? Jeff, I'll have you go first.
So Seats, I don't know if you guys know this, but Seats.aero has an AI assistant. Have you guys ever...
Did not know that.
News to me.
Okay. Yeah, they do. I've played around with it, but that's as far as that's literally the extent.
Is it like good? Does it like provide accurate, or does it like hallucinate? Like, you know what I mean?
So yeah, basically what it is like, it's a prompt where it says, describe your trip. And so you punch in, or you enter, what you want to do, where you want to go, where you want to stay. And then it'll give you options from there. To be honest with you, like I said, I played around with it for maybe 10 minutes and I've never gone back to it. So I don't find any of these tools to be particularly useful. So, but it's there, I guess, if you want to check it out.
I mean, we've definitely had a few people email into FrugalFlyer and, referencing AI and AI tools. And, there's definitely an appetite out there for it. I do know that Kieran has an article coming later in April about using AI to trip plan and whatnot. And there's definitely some merit there. He has some unique ideas and approaches. So I think there's value. The big thing, no matter how you always use it, is double check and triple check what data you're getting and whatnot. It's good, but not great right now with a lot of searches. So don't take it as face value. No different than searching anything on AI, not travel related, but I see a lot more people using it as a tool. So it's interesting to see.
Yeah. When I meet regular people that don't do award travel, because I would definitely say we're not regular people.
Not in this space.
The folks who are interested in this stuff. No, definitely not. I've often get the comment of, oh, well, why don't you just use AI to find all your flights for you? And isn't AI just going to replace all of the award travel talk that you guys do? And ultimately, right now, I don't think the information that it can gather from the internet is up to speed enough with how quickly a lot of these things change. Like I'm pretty sure right now, even if you Google how many points can you top up a Marriott free night certificate with, you're going to get the wrong answer of only 15,000 points on top of the free night cert. And that's just one example. So in terms of which airlines release stuff last minute and how to search for it, what tools are the best, right now, I don't think it's up to snuff in terms of having relevant information. But I think it is have some merit, and maybe Kieran's article will have this, that if you're looking for inspiration and where to travel to when you get to a place, for sure, it's going to have a lot of historical information there, that which areas are going to be the best. You know, if you're traveling to Mexico City, where should you stay compared to this versus this, and what am I going to have for an experience? That's not going to change, right? History is history. So for once you're on the ground, I think it's great. In terms of using AI for award tools, I don't think it's quite there yet, but we'll see how it progresses.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Thanks for tuning in for this episode of Miles Ahead. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any questions about anything we discussed, please leave a comment wherever you're listening or on the episode page at FrugalFlyer.ca. And if you have a question you want us to answer on air, you can submit it on FrugalFlyer.ca/podcast. Bye, everybody.